Maybe I found a high note in the deep, a light in the dark where all my moons and all their sorrows wept and birthed another me. I am talking about my mind. It seemed to me when I was young and injured that a demon came and made a nest. In a dream I saw it once, standing at an entrance of a blue lake, blue sapphire, a blue lake in my mind, and is my mind, and the waters were low, a drought. Humanoid form, but all leathery, white and leathery like tendons and insides, it prevented access to the blue lake in my mind. Now the strategy of the demon, perhaps, at least the strategy of the injured mind, at this point in its condition, is to avoid places of pain, or perceived pain. The mind defers, it yields places, it retreats inward, into a filmy layer with less lucidity. At least in my mind, my strategy was to protect what was left, some sense that there was something precious, sacred, pure, a true self, somewhere, so I retreated from the peripheral thoughts, inward, so that the pain and destruction can never find me and the false pictures of other people who hovered over me. But then the problem is that I can no longer be. Because we are all broken, there is a core inside us, pain and fear, and the mind, in a defensive mode, as though to defer from pain and manage pain from the deep core, collects all negative thoughts, flashes of bad things, the desires of others who wish harm to us. Our mind picks these up through the nuances of the behavior, and now the mind relates to these thoughts. This relatedness to these collections of bad thoughts that swirl around in our mind forms, by its trade, another self, the false self. And this false self consists almost entirely as an outcome and as the process of relating and talking to the river of thoughts that flow day and night. And our mind tricks us by anosognosia, and pride, and suppression, and comfort, to not perceive the above. Now for us in the light of truth, there is a way out. And for those in the dark there is no way to the blue lake. The mind is not going to give up its trading mechanism without awareness of its true value, our exquisite and beautiful self, in righteousness. This acceptance of our exquisite self only forms by affirmation by love, and love by a real being, who is God, and for us, Jesus Christ. So in our prayer we must feel Him, and feel from Him the measure of us, because the true self, and the effusion of the soul, grows and expresses in direct effect, and direct approximation to the value we feel from Him. Our picture is inside Him. And I think, though a flower on earth can bloom by itself, the soul and the true self cannot, it needs another, an external. Once we accept this measure or picture, we go to the next step, which is to fight the automation of the needles of the dragons. I borrow the term needle of the dragons from Micah Turnbow, because the Lord had told him by revelation that the system of dragons is the needle, and the needle attacks the brain. So I assume there are dark beings out there who, in their darkness, affect the way we think, to keep the human race mindless. Now I am supposing the needle has pain and has penetration, so these are, in practice, any adverse thought we have in our mind, so we defer and retreat. And secondly, the needle may speak, as metaphor, of what we can call a pinpoint style of thinking, which is to say think one thing at a time, but more specifically, a single painful thought that dashes past our focus, induces or invites us to focus on it, and so divert everything to this pinpoint. So we do this day after day, and only with the help of suppression, and the effort of focus, maintain some level of sanity. So this is the way of the dragons, and the way of our automatic thinking. And here we must take the advice of Enoch, ancient Enoch, who had told Neville Johnson something strange, but I think it pertains to the above, and I know of no other way around it towards the blue lake, or the new way of thinking. Enoch had said, we must for an hour a day thinking nothing. I suppose he was talking about a way to still or quiet the mind. For me, this does not imply blank thinking, as in truly nothing, rather a stillness wherein I am still found, and my mind in light and awareness. I guess that blank thoughts without self-awareness is not the way to do it. Now the point of this seemingly mindless exercise is to overcome the automation above, and when we start practicing this, even for 5 minutes a day, we will find our perception increases remarkably and then our spiritual sight. And then, a third step, we are now able to better stand within our true self, because remember we had retreated from the precious self when we were young, as though to protect it. And we will find that there are places in our mind where we can now stand, in confidence, outward places and feelings of outward expression, and we can call these places the front. An angel in a dream said to me once, "You must be at the front." I think he was talking about the above. When we are at the front of my mind, by way of the self, and not having to answer every pinpoint thought that swings by, we can touch reality, and are more powerful. Now in a dream not long ago the devil himself appeared to me in my room, but in this dream there was an attic above my room where a lot of clutter was, representing the clutter in my mind, and Satan, like a handsome Italian man, but with a wicked grin, threw two things at me, to destroy me, a loudspeaker boombox, and a skateboard. I think this skateboard speaks of thought that pops into my focus from the side, which distracts me, which slides me to the side, out of the standing of the exquisite self in its place, a pinpoint idea that has little wheels, taking me for a ride, and I can longer with the feet of my exquisite self stand on the reality planes of earth or wherever, because when we find our head we find our feet, and when we can finally be still we can stand still, and when we can stand still we can stand over everything.